everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video or go live. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about Jeremy Boring, who has stepped down as one of the CEOs of the Daily Wire. So the Daily Wire is ran by, well, at one point, Jeremy Boring, Ben Shapiro, and there was another guy who was the co-CEO as well that they started the company with. Now, you guys all know the Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, the Calvin Klein guy, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't watch that guy. I just know his name is Calvin, honestly.
Calvin Klein?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I forget.
Used to have Candace Owens and what's her name? Brett Cooper
as well.
Yeah.
Did you mean to say Andrew Clavin? Is that your Calvin Klein?
I'll be honest here, man. I literally don't remember. He's the most forgettable person on their crew. But no offense to him. He's just very forgettable. But so there's a lot to go through with this. So I'm just going to start with the most recent thing. That's the most recent thing in everyone's mind, which is the Brett Cooper thing. So Brett Cooper ended up leaving the Daily Wire, and the drama unfolded that basically went like this. Something happened in the negotiations, and then Jeremy ended up getting Brett Cooper's maid of honor at her wedding to take over her show. Now, as you guys know, generally, let's break it down like this in an analogy that a lot of you guys will gonna understand from TV. Whenever you replace someone on a TV show, let's say a main star, think of how many TV shows they replace the main star and the show's just never the same anymore. There's not ever been one where it's happened where it's actually worked. It's honestly always seems to downgrade. You know,
I've lived through like 12 iterations of the MSK show, and the stars keep getting changed out. Like it really sucks.
So you have that one where Brett Cooper is changed out for her friend Reagan. Actually, now I will say this: her friend selling her out for that amount of money. To be honest here, I wouldn't be her friend either if I was Brett. Like literally, her friend sold her out for money that I guarantee if they've been friends for this long, Brett would have hired her on her YouTube channel to work with her and give her money if she needed it that bad. That just goes to show you right there that you don't even know who your true friends are, because apparently they were friends for a very, very long time, that a person like that close to you will just sell you out for money that quick. So you have that situation. You guys remember 2022, late 2021, we had the situation with Daily Wire and Steven Crowder drama. We had that happen. I mean, the Candace Owens firing, where basically, you know how like people criticize Disney for firing Gina Carano the way they did? It was on Twitter. You know what, Jeremy Boring? He actually did it worse than Disney. At least Disney had a formal resignation, like, we're sorry, we couldn't keep her, blah, 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 blah. His literally was Candace Owens no longer works at the Daily Wire. Literally in a tweet. That's it. Not even a, hey, we appreciated everything you did for us, blah, 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 blah. None of that. I can't believe he actually made a worse public firing than Disney. That actually takes skill. That's disgusting. So come to find out, a lot of people think it's Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro and Michael Knowles who are the big viewers of the Daily Wire. No, come to find out, it's not true. Candace Owens and Brett Cooper had the bigger viewership. I didn't know that because their viewership tanked after they left. They actually completely left. Now, usually I always say, if you hire a Shaniqua with no real hair, you're probably going to tank your company. You know, Brett Cooper's pretty attractive. She's Jewish. I would probably hit that if she offered. But the fact that the women had that much viewership and they let them go in that kind of manner is it's disgusting, honestly. And then,
so I think you're making a connection that I don't know if it's honestly there. Like, people might have left because those hosts were treated that way, because they left. I don't know that they literally had all of it. It's just, I don't like the way they're treating their talent. There was the Crowder thing. There was the Candace Owens thing. Now there's the Brett Cooper thing. So I'm not going to renew. You just might be putting the cart before the horse there, but obviously losing those people caused a lot of people not to renew. That's definitely a huge
and then
problem.
A lot of you guys brought up on the shows many times when I have you on that these people have basically been utilizing their money in a very weird, unconventional way. I mean, you have all the Matt Walsh movies and documentaries, actually. Every single
documentaries, you say?
Documentaries. Oh my God, sorry. Well, every single person got a big project. Michael Knowles had his with Anthony Fauci. Candace Owens had hers with BLM. Matt Walsh had Am I a Racist? He had the one with the whole Looney Tune community, actually. All
of those you mentioned were actually pretty good.
They had those movies with Ballers. They had that recently. They had the one with Gina Carano. What about the one, the high school invasion movie? That was their first one.
That
high
I
school
liked.
invasion movie.
That one was
that
really
one
good.
wasn't bad. They also had one with Carrie Elwes where it was like a kind of superheroes 60s thing. They had some that were kind of cool in the beginning. They were not produced by them. They just picked them up afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what you mean. Yeah. But you have to kind of consider, everyone, that this amount of projects they were doing, because they wanted to basically be like a bunch of content creators that had a lot of viewership. They made a streaming service where it could be all in one hub, where they didn't have to be censored. They'd have like Daily Wire access after the show's over, where you could just ask them uncensored questions. It's not a bad business strategy. It can work. It's been proven to work. But a lot of problems started surfacing, like Jeremy Boring. He calls himself the God King. Now, obviously, I'm the top G. I'm the Riz Master. So I know.
I was going to say, with a name like the Riz Master, perhaps you understand the irony behind his name. But
I do.
Fair enough. They also had some interesting kind of unique shows. Like they brought Adam Carolla's Bertram back from the dead for some
Jordan
reason.
Peterson. He had his own thing there
too.
Yeah,
that one was pretty popular for a minute. And then they did the whole like Bent Key kids side of it. I don't know.
They had the kids content. They tried launching, but all that stuff, guys, costs so much money. So like, if all their shows aren't bringing in enough money to cover those budgets, like, we talk about Disney and like all these other companies where we know that they're basically spending way more money than they're kind of having to make a profit. No way they spent on all those movies all that money and turned a profit. There's no way. There's too many blockbusters. There's too many big production movies that they have, and then the not streaming numbers, their subscriber numbers have been going down. I'll ask you guys, also with Paparoni, he's been wanting to roast Jeremy for quite some time. How do you feel about Jeremy Boring's stepping down, the CEO of Daily Wire?
I mean, Jeremy's like an interesting businessman, and he's a fascinating figure in the conservative movement. But realistically, he's once again another person just within Con Inc. that is an ego-filled maniac, and it has driven his company to the brink of excommunicating their rising stars. And now what we see is the people that they do have as the vanguard of their company have no ability to drive them into the future, especially with the way the cultural dynamic is shifting. They have no forefront. They have no ability to actually take any ground. And any ground that they do have, the rug is going to be ripped from beneath their feet so fast that they won't be able to catch themselves whenever they fall. They're done.
Sure. Also, let's bring up this too, because I wanted to make sure I brought this up. Remember the whole Jeremy's Razors things? Jeremy's Chocolate. So anytime a company did something woke, let's just say that, Jeremy would have a reaction to it. So back in 2023, it was February. I'm not kidding you guys. This might have been one of the biggest L's I've ever seen from a company, a legacy one. You know that candy company, Hershey's? They nominated a Looney Tune Decepticon a part of National Women's Day. Yeah, International Women's Day. They honored a Looney Tune. And then Jeremy and Brett did the whole like Jeremy's Chocolates, the whole she, her, he, him, blah, blah, blah. Like there was some good ideas there. But, when this guy has this big of a ego and he's this big of a maniac, you could clearly tell this guy is going off he went off on people on Twitter constantly over just the most weirdest thing, but like that. What was that whole Crisis King thing he kept going off about? So cringe every day having this guy say this rhetoric all the time. Like Crisis King is like, all right, dude, I'm not religious, but holy shit, like it's okay, man. People don't go to church. It's just how life goes, Some people just aren't religious like that, So I just couldn't imagine the Daily Wire surviving. Like I don't see a world where it can go on, honestly. Writing's been on the wall for quite some time, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. You hire a Shaniqua and your company just goes to shit. That's just me. No, maybe it's just me.
Doesn't that go against what you just said, though? If she was the most popular, I don't know.
It's ironic, isn't it?
When he says the Shaniqua, what he's realistically saying is a diva, and Jeremy Boring's ego being so vast and all-encompassing. That's exactly what he is.
See, he saved me. Thank God. That's why I have white people here.
Yeah, I don't watch enough of those people to know.
I
don't watch them either. I just find them insufferable, and unfortunately end up keeping up with it because the news just gets called on my Twitter feed.
I've seen a few clips, and I've seen like, am I racist? And like those are pretty decent, but it's like as far as watching any of their content, I've never been a fan. Like I'm like, I don't know how anyone can sit there and watch these people for 45 minutes or an hour, however long their shows are.
I love getting a point that's really important interrupted by an ad for Goodreads. That's my favorite part of the Daily Wire project.
Oh, man.
It's like, yeah, dude, that's an excellent point.
The only one I ever watch occasionally, I do like what's his name, Knowles. I like Knowles, all right.
Yep.
My wife's been watching a lot of Candace Owens, primarily for like now. She's not part of it now, but for the Ryan Reynolds, Justin Baldoni stuff.
Of course, she's interested in that. Of course, your wife's a huge fan of Blake Lively. She's the number one fan.
Oh,
and a Taylor
number
Swift
one fan,
actually,
right?
Too. Yeah, and she's a Taylor Swift fan too. Number one fan, actually. But yeah, that's kind of it right now with the Jeremy Boring CEO, Daily Wire stepping down. I mean, I don't think people really like this guy as much as he thinks he's liked. Like he must have been tanking the company this bad because there's all these controversies we just brought up with with Candace Owens firing and all that stuff. They tried to set up a debate with her and Ben Shapiro. That fell through. I'll be honest here. I think both of them were kind of dodging each other. I don't know if they'll ever do it, but it'll be pretty entertaining actually. But some things about them are cool, but but this is why the average person kind of financing and producing this amount of content can't really work because you literally need big backers. There's a reason why all these companies can survive because they have like big backers behind them.
I have an interesting point behind that.
Okay.
Yeah,
does
please.
anyone find
MSK
it
has none.
interesting? Yeah, I fucking love this dude. Anyways, sorry, he's funny.
I'm black. I have that neck. I'm like Dave Chappelle.
The thing that I find so incredibly fascinating is like the announcement of the economic woes of the Daily Wire. That anyone that has seen what they're doing and seen the failed output has understood that they're very clearly experiencing, but they still just had everything fine. And then USAID tanks. And then all of a sudden the Daily Wire is like, we're in economic crisis. We have to freeze our employees' credit cards. In fact, we're going to try and take out loans on our employees' actual personal cards so that we can finance and back them later. And it's like, what is fucking going on here? And I don't know. This is conspiratorial angle. But what the fuck? And if you think they wouldn't be infiltrating Con Inc. just like they did the fact of the mainstream media, it's like this is Operation Mockingbird tactics. It goes all the way back to the nature of the CIA. This is how they operate. If they can control the narrative, then they'll do so on any side. And don't think someone like Ben Shapiro that toes the line of every single war of the last 20 fucking years wouldn't gladly do so here.
It's
it's professional wrestling. They have to have a heel. There always has to be controlled opposition, and you kind of things start happening and you start kind of seeing who might be just that.
That is interesting timing. I honestly hadn't put kind of two and two together, but because so MSK, sadly, he had kind of a point where he was mentioning like the big backers or whatever.
Yep.
I don't know. I'd always heard rumor that they did have some big backers and that they were kind of waiting on this whole like Pendragon Cycle giant project, that it was kind of the last thing with Brett Cooper, that they're still hoping to kind of get any sort of traction with that. Has there been any word on that, or did it kind of go the way of the Brett Cooper Cinderella thing?
The only
It's
thing
out of
that I
house
saw
right now.
Brett put out was that when it was revealed that Jeremy Boring was going to step down, she just posted a GIF or a GIF of Jimmy Fallon just turning his face and laughing. That's all she did.
Oh, there's bad blood there.
Oh, there's for sure.
Yeah,
bad blood.
I mean,
yeah.
If you saw that last thing that Brett Cooper did, that was like the statement or whatever, that it looked so much like a
Oh, that felt
hostage
so
video.
forced. Oh God, that felt so forced. Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll have to see how it pans out. Brett Cooper, if you ever decide to leave your husband and you want to, try out some BBC, some black guy, I'm always open. I've never had a Jewish.
But you could do better. Just know that, Brett.
I don't think she's Jewish.
Oh, gosh. Interesting.
Ben wouldn't have fired her. I'm kidding. But anyway, no, legitimate. No, seriously, I don't think she's Jewish. In fact, I know the beef with her and the Daily Wire. She got in trouble for liking something that was talking about the Gaza conflict.
It was a Nick Foles thing. It was a Nick Foles thing.
Yep.
Oh, no, not Nick Foles. Jesus Christ, that's the Eagles player. Nick Fuentes. Jesus Christ, my brain is fried.
No, I don't think it was Nick Fuentes. It was a post that was talking about the Gaza stuff, and it was commented on by Nick Fuentes. And because there was a Fuentes comment on it, it blew up. And then there was a like that you could see on Instagram from Brett Cooper. And then all of a sudden, there started being these rumblings behind the scenes. And a week later, her show shifted, and you saw Reagan fill in one of the slots. Which I don't know if that's the case. But I wouldn't be surprised if they would excommunicate people, because everyone has their lines. And for the people that support, again, every single conflict that any
what's weird? Matt Walsh
empire
talked
will
about
push.
you were saying control of opposition. Matt Walsh literally was on one of the Daily Wire backstages talking about the USA not wanting and needing to support Israel. They're fine with him doing it, but if a girl does it, they have to get fired. And it's like, we were talking about earlier before this video, like certain people in certain groups can do and say certain things and no one's going to challenge them because optics, right? Happened with the Daily Wire. Like Matt Walsh literally is in front of them saying, I don't believe the USA should be helping Israel. I don't really disagree with them on that.
And that's a good point, because Matt Walsh also, I'm not saying I disagree with that point, but he also is known to say a lot of really, really stupid shit, and it just gets skirted over because he's the what is a woman guy. Let's not rock the boat. Exactly.
Fucking boomer ass.
Video games cause violence. Anime's demonic.
Let's not move culture. Let's chase away the people.
He actually recently, as of yesterday, remember he was talking about the whole food stamp one. He believes that if you using taxpayer money, you shouldn't be able to buy soda or chips on food stamps. Not a bad take. It's a fine one. Or Ben Shapiro recently having the one about Social Security. Oh, because I remember the whole big thing about the Daily Wire, people don't remember, was that they were mad at Hollywood for kind of censoring and firing people who said certain things. I don't disagree with what people said, but if there are big staunches of, Ben Shapiro's, I guess, apparently one of the number one staunch defenders of free speech, Candace Owens had some very interesting things she said about Israel, and she's gone. But that's literally a foundational thing that Ben Shapiro talks about. It's believing in free speech and all that stuff. I find it so weird,
When people on the right complain about the left media being nothing but an echo chamber, maybe they should try to avoid to create their own echo chambers and allow different versions of an opinion to exist in the same space, and maybe have thoughtful debate and disagree on occasion, or even pretty heated ones. But oh no, alas.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro will just have the most random takes. Like I was on a plane and I watched Deadpool and Wolverine. I think it's the worst movie ever made. No, and you can have your whatever opinion you want, but there's no way I'll believe in my head that you believe that that's the worst movie you ever seen.
Dude,
guys,
Emily brought up his opinions on Sonic were pretty dumb too.
I'll give you a better one. Literally I have it up on my second monitor right here. March 23rd, 2025, Ben Shapiro. Why does it matter who shot JFK? Excuse me? There's no way that someone whose entire life fundamental and their viewpoint of the world is built on something that happened 80 years ago. And we're like, I don't think it matters that this thing that happened 60 years ago should be talked about. It's like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Because
what is going on here?
I just want to elaborate
on doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Because the reason why that take, not yours, the reason why that tweet makes no sense is because the reason why JFK files and that whole 9/11 thing is highlighted is because if it's revealed that our own government takes out people, that's the point of it. It's like our own government who's supposed to protect us. If they can off you, if they don't like you or perceive to be an enemy, that's not good. That needs to be exposed. Absolutely. And if someone to say it doesn't matter, it's like, are you a crackhead? Are you literally stupid?
That just shows that they agree with government having that kind of overreach and control. And exactly. As long as your side's the ones in control of that shadow government, then it's perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. No.
It's public knowledge about Hillary, right? Like Norm brought it up on The View. Like I thought we all knew that they kill people.
And I do agree with the Daily Wire on a lot of the Troon stuff. I think they're very spot on about the whole Troon stuff. I agree with them on a lot of stuff, but that doesn't mean because I agree with them on that. It doesn't mean I agree with them on everything. And that's what a lot of people need to understand. It's like just because you can agree with someone on something, but not agree with everything they say. But average leftists don't understand that. But we'll get our final thoughts on this, and we'll move on to the next topic. Sci-Fax, anything you want to bring up?
No, I don't follow enough of what these guys say. Some of the stuff you guys have mentioned, I've kind of relatively heard it, but I don't pay attention to what those people say most of the time. They have a good take every now and then. Like I said, I've watched some of the Matt Walsh documentary stuff. That's about it. And those were fine. That's fine. Like you said, there's things that of course, it's like, I agree with a couple of the things that I've heard you say, but I don't know enough about what else they talk about to really give a shit. I just don't know them.
Also, Jordan Peterson, if your daughter needs another partner, to bang her out, I mean, I'm right here. Jokes aside, Iron, your final thoughts on this one?
I think it kind of proves a lot of stuff we've already known for a long time about a lot of these bigger, conservative media outlets, that they're just as bullshit as you would expect. So it doesn't really surprise me, and it doesn't really affect me that much either way. It is a little sad to see things turn when they were, purchasing movies that actually were pretty much neutral, and we need somebody to kind of pick up that momentum. But it's funny, but that's about it. I think I agree with all Poperoni's points mostly. I am starting to think, okay, the timing is very sus.
I'll say this before Gray goes. Lauren Chen, even though she was really, really attractive, about that Russia money that she was allegedly getting. Lauren, don't sue me. I said allegedly. She had never appeared, guys. She never surfaced in again. I find that funny. I just, crazy, right? Gray, what are your final thoughts on this, actually?
I think, you should definitely take a page out of Lauren Chen's book. If you could disappear for a while, I think the internet would be a better place. But to give kind of an alternate opinion, I guess let me white knight the Daily Wire just a little bit. There's a lot of streaming services out there. There's Disney Plus. There's all these. They all anticipated this kind of big cash flow. And I think what we've seen from all of them is, sadly, it doesn't seem like streaming is super, I don't know, lucrative. It doesn't seem like it's as effective as everyone thought. We had this whole pandemic surge where everybody really thought, okay, that's where we're going to take all these online businesses. We're just going to sell subscriptions. And I don't know if that's kind of the way forward. It seems like all these different subscription services are now going to commercial. Like, I don't know. It feels like we're getting TV again through it. So the fact that this didn't necessarily work out for them, I don't know that it was necessarily run incorrectly. They had a lot of really interesting programs out there. Lady Ballers, it was their first attempt at comedy. It wasn't the worst, but it wasn't super effective. And then I felt kind of the same thing with Matt Walsh's documentaries. I get it, and those are kind of the only ones that they had. I think Lady Ballers got like a very limited release, and then now I'm forgetting Matt Walsh's
Am I Racist? One got released.
Am I Racist?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It actually got released, and it didn't do horribly in that. But I think
it was actually pretty funny. It was pretty funny, but I don't think I don't think they meant it for it to be funny. Just the things that are happening and how ridiculous everything is makes it funny, because you're like, there's no way these people exist, and then he's like, no, check it out. Here's a whole movie about them.
They totally do.
And I will give Matt credit here
just
for a second. I understand, like, when you would say conservatives are trying to make big Hollywood blockbusters and to get them into screens. I fully agree with Matt about what he had presented as receipts to, hey, they're literally blocking us from getting into theaters. I understand that. So I don't really fault some of their movies for not making enough money, because literally if the people in charge are not giving them enough screens, I understand that. That's fine. That, I can't really argue with that one. We know.
Yeah, I have 5 AMCs within about 20 minutes of me, like real close to me. It was only showing in one theater, and it had like 2 showings on a Saturday. That was it.
It's crazy, man.
What state are you in?
I'm in California.
We're both in California.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in Texas, and like both theaters that I saw, like when I went by, and the one I went to, like had it showing. But I mean, again, could just be like the nature of the culture here. So.
Yeah, I mean, and for the AMCs that around me, it's like I had to go to like the shittiest one kind of thing. It's like the one I'd never go to, and they show more like indie movies and whatever, but that's the only one out of all these that were playing it. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's intentional for sure.
Okay, Paparoni, your final thoughts on this?
I know I've been trashing the Daily Wire a lot, but I am going to come in and go ahead and give them like their kudos. I like them. I like what they've done. I genuinely appreciate it. They've done great things with the people they've brought into the landscape to be people who are, I would say, fantastic voices in the conservative space. Knowles, Walsh, Candace, Brett, like they all do their own thing, and they do it in their own interesting way, which is why they've been able to garner so much success. And I enjoy all of them. I used to like Ben, but it's one of those things where you start to see the shifting landscape, and you see the certain litmus tests, and you can go ahead and just look at COVID like this. When you see the tweet fly out of Ben Shapiro's mouths, and it completely abandons the fundamental of, like, I don't know, personal autonomy, and he is just now, Ben, get the vaccine, you dope, Shapiro. That's one of those little stepping stones where you see it's like, okay, you failed this litmus test. Now what? Ukraine drops the ball, fails the litmus test, and just so on and so forth, so consistently as he and so many others like him have proven. And I think that's one of those things why they fail. But I think if they can recover, it'll be by downsizing, because they can't keep spending into oblivion like you were talking about, that all of these projects are so expensive that if they're going to keep going down this pipeline, that's how they sink themselves, because they will be, I would say, completely in a hole with no liquidity. So
yeah, and they have sponsors.
I hope
and,
the Pendragon cycle is successful, though. Supposedly, it's still made out there.
Jeremy believes in it. He's passionate about it. He cares about it. I hope it's good. I don't
Snow
like
White
Jeremy
movie.
Boring, but it doesn't mean I want him to fail. You know what I mean?
What happens to that Snow White movie they're supposed to do with Brett Cooper? Oh wait, she's gone.
Dude, she was.
I mean, they should have had some type of deal going, anyways, just to release it, just to have something to come out right now with Snow White getting just fucking, just tanking in the box office.
Yeah,
like, come on, man.
They would have done good.
Yeah, it's like just make the deal behind. Be like, here's an extra 50,000, whatever. Give it to her and be like, and then just fucking release it. Just do it.
Do they have that in hand?
No.
That's
maybe Monopoly money. Just joking.
I mean, that's what's crazy when I see
dollar is.
And when I see all these like creators like that all join together and then go to a company, it always makes me wonder. I'm like, why? Like, I guess because they at least had a vision for something. I kind of get that, but when I see creators do that, always something happens. There's a massive split. And like, it's like, dude, you guys have like millions of subs. Why do you need this company backing you? You guys get a ton of deals.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson's star got completely diminished in the light that was putting out from it. And now all people look at Jordan Peterson as is, oh yeah, he's another one of those Daily Wire guys, when he was someone that was moving the dynamics of culture even after the fact of coming back from beating drug addiction. But now it's just another boilerplate person at the Daily Wire.
Yeah, and I want to tackle on that thing that Paparoni said. So I have 3 things to mention before we head out this video, which is, I do respect and like what they did and what they have tried to do. The other thing I'll bring up is that if your CEO is tweeting the things that he's tweeting, I'm not saying that he should censor himself. That's not what I'm saying. But I do kind of agree on an aspect where if you represent a company, the certain things you say reflect on the company. They just kind of do when you get to be in that position, So if we had a similar thing like the Daily Wire, if I'm tweeting certain things and everyone thinks that what I'm tweeting, you guys all absolve what I say. That's how the average idiot thinks. I'm not saying that people should think that way. That's how they think. So you have all these crazy things he's saying out there. Doesn't make the company look good. Also, I'll be people to point out all these sponsors they have on their shows. You guys have to understand, not you guys, but you guys will get this. These sponsors can only cover so much money. You have to get the rest of it from ad revenue, people watching your shit, people actually having subscriptions. Their model is literally based around unless there's consistent subscriber growth, then their money is going to be stopped at a certain point, because sponsors can only give you so much, and don't all of them only have 3 apart? A lot of them actually have 3 of the same sponsors themselves, so it might be just split amongst the middle. So yeah, a business model like this, I don't know, I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. But hey, Brett Cooper, if you watch this, if you got any hot friends who want to sleep with me, just saying, I'm open. I'm Riz Master, Thrust King, all these guys vouch for me, so we're good.
No.
Do we though?
Disavow.
So thank you guys for checking out this video. If you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video or go live. I'm MSK, aka Master Swag King, and we're going to sign out, guys. See you guys later.